All right, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the placer node. It's just about a node that allows you paint mesh or objects onto another mesh. So it's similar to the paint effects tool. It's also similar to the paintbrush. Uh, so let's just get straight into it. I'll start off by creating a grid plane. So let me turn off this first, plane, and scale it out. Okay, so I'll just add more numbers to this. Um, let's change a few things here. Um, vertices. Let's do let's make some other changes. Well, this is here. That's something mild, nothing serious. Okay. All right, so I'll just create a simple geometry here, and let me so video. So let's put a sphere. Let me take this one down. All right. Okay, so the sphere selected. I'm going to mash this, and this is a placer node, so it helps me place. Now, one of the things you could do with the placer node is in the distribute, you can actually turn off the distance, and you actually turn off the number of points since you're going to be painting them. So here in the placer, let's add a placer node. And then we have these brushes here. So let me explain these brushes. So we have the add. This is what will enable you add to um, the scene, that add your painting to the scene. This will delete the painting. Collision or collide is for when you paint and the objects are kind of on top of each other. You can separate them with this. ID node works like ID works like the ID node. It paints objects based on their ID. You can actually change their ID numbers and nudge, and move, rotate, and scale. You have the brush radius, spacing, strength, and some other stuff. So let me quickly go into the add. So if I click on the add, it's just drag over the model and then have painting. Okay, so very simply, you can see that the spheres are attached to the structure of the um, structural vector in this. All right, so you're basically just painting on the object here, and you could delete them if you want. So basically, that's why you move the other one from the scene. Okay, so you can increase the brush radius by holding B and dragging, just like the other brushes, or you can slide with the slider here. Okay, then the spacing. So right now when we painted, we had this close spacing, so you increase the spacing. When you paint, you have wider spacing, and that's what the brush spacing is all about. And then yes, get this, and then we have the brush strength and the scatter density collide on create, so always be off and stuff like that. So let's do something here so we can see how the ID works. Um, but I want to just show how this collide does work. So I click this and paint top of this, so you can see we have some spheres are painted over others, so I could use the collide and separate them, as you can see, and it starts to separate them. It breaks them apart. Hey, stop fighting, kind of thing. All right, and then okay, so for this ID to work, let's get rid of this mesh. Let me just show you how that will work. I'll still select. Okay, so we have the sphere. Let's do this. So let's create a sphere. Let's create a cube. Let's create a cylinder. Create a torus. Let's create a pyramid or a prism. Whatever. Okay, so just model apart. Okay, so QB is the smallest. Okay. All right. So now I have these 5 guys. So to select all of them and mash them. Now once you mash them, obviously you only see one of them. So follow the ID node, the previous video. So see one of this, and I can come here, distribute on the left, right, and then I go to my placer, and when I click on the add, it obviously will just paint one. That's the last one that was in that list. Okay. So I have just that one here. All right. Now, if I want to make one of the changes, I could, uh, while I'm painting, I have an ID mode fixed, so I could change it to, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is paint ID 0. So if I go to paint ID 1, it's going to paint the next object. The third object here is a cylinder. So if I go to 2, it's going to paint cylinder. Next object here is the cube. If I change to that, it's going to paint the cube. And the next one is a sphere. If I change to this, it's paint the sphere. Okay, so that's basically what the paint ID is doing. If I go to random, we randomize the IDs from 0, that's the first one, to last ones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 0 to 4, basically. And then if I pick, I can now randomly paint all of them. I can randomize the seed and let it paint differently, so, and stuff. Okay. Now let's see how this ID works. Now, considering I painted all this, and this is, I didn't want this to be here. I wanted maybe a sphere here. This was a sphere. There's number 4 here. So I can come to paint ID, change to 4, and click on this guy and change it to sphere. Okay, I want to change this to the torus. It's number 2, so that's 1. So I could change this to torus. So basically, I could change. That's what this ID is. So I'm painting by ID. So whatever I want to see, I just do that. So basically, that's that. And then, like I said, the move, if you try to select one and move it, you won't be able to, because this is on a repro mesh, so you can't really move them individually. But with the paint ID, I can. So I will come under with the paint placer, sorry, I can do that. So if I click on move, for instance, I could select one object here and move it. This space there. I could select, let's see this one. Let's see, right? Sometimes you gotta get the center of the object. I can rotate it so it's not lying down. No? I can rotate this one, lie down. Right. Then probably move it as well. Let's away from that. So that's how you can move around with all this stuff. It's a quite interesting tool, and yeah, it helps to generate stuff. So even if we had maybe let's say I generate a brush, for instance. and I take kind of like a flower, or let's see, uh, yeah, let me do a flower. Let's do this beautiful one here. Okay, and I draw a flower here, and probably take another flower. Let's take another one. That's flowers, right? Um, let's take this one. Yep, let's take that one. Yeah, draw that. Okay, so I could now select both of them. Let's percentage them out. Okay, so I could select both of them. Let me do that. 1, 2, and let's convert them to polygons, because remember the mesh works with polygons. Right, so in fix polygons, I go in here and I want some color, output high strokes here. So convert them. Okay. Right, so now they are in grayscale. I can see their color, so I'll turn on the shaded material so I can see them again. Right. Okay, so now I can select each of them and mash them. Okay, and we have the mash. Okay, so in my distribute, I can turn them off, and this. Then placer ID, add. Then I can now paint, and notice I start painting. But like I said, it's painting individual objects as one fixed, okay, default. So I could turn this to random, okay. And since I have just one of them, so I can now go back here and paint. And if for any reason I'm having issues with the painting, I could add this mesh or this plane to my mesh to snap to paint meshes and stuff like that. So let's click this and drop that here. Okay, and then just so let's go back. Sorry. Um, do that painting on this guy. Okay, so now paints. All right, so that's it there. So I hope actually paint what I want to do later on, reduce the spacing and do other stuff. So that's generally how the placer works. In another video, I'll do a more practical example by creating terrain using this. Not one of my fastest choices, but just to show that that works. All right, I'll see you in the next video.